good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are in the world, wherever you are in the universe. This is Captain Swifty. Today, the ineffectual gamer, and this is Microsoft Flight Simulator. Hello, how are you doing? Hope everybody's good, and everybody had a good weekend. Didn't get to stream last night, but I didn't think I would. Did a big walk. Came home very tired, had a few beers, and was in no fit state. Everybody's seen me in those states when I've come home early on Sunday and streamed. It's never a good thing. So I try to behave myself these days and not do it. I am just gonna post this to the Discord because I hadn't had a chance to do that. So I'm just gonna do this quickly. And then we'll select all, copy, okay, Pim. I'm going to try and do this quite quickly today. Self-promotion. Okay, I'll put it in there. Whoops, a daisy. Put it in there. We're going to go, I think I'll just do it in. I don't know these days. Sometimes I want to put it. I should take the time to put it in all the places I used to. You never know. So essentially, while I'm doing this, I can actually explain to you what I'm doing today. So I've been playing around with the game here and there, and I found that the autopilot system is really strange in this game. Okay, so I know that there's issues with it, and they've said they're going to fix it, which is a good thing. And I really hope they fix some of it as soon as possible. So one of the big problems I've had, oops, I didn't mean to put everyone there, but I'm guessing it doesn't, hopefully it doesn't send out a server message to that one. I didn't want to do that one. Sorry, hang on 1 second. Yeah, so it's very it's very touch and go sometimes whether the autopilot works. And at first, when I was streaming last week, if you remember, I was kind of blaming it on myself, and I really felt that it was me that was making some mistakes, and I needed to fix those mistakes. And then I watched a couple of videos about how to properly set up the AI, the autopilot and stuff, and then I started flying around and using the autopilot, and it was still really hit and miss. It felt like sometimes it would work and sometimes it wouldn't work. So that's all done now. I've got all the Discord stuff out the way now, so I can go to the chat. And so yeah, I was having issues getting it going. Now I took off this morning, did a little bit of flying and then landing. And so now when I'm landing, I'm kind of bouncing, and I wasn't bouncing before, and now I'm bouncing, and I'm not bouncing because I'm too fast. So I'm either bouncing because I'm too slow, and I'm just stalling above the runway, or I'm coming down at the runway at the wrong angle, and I just want to practice a little bit just to try and make sure that I'm doing things correctly. So that looks like it's live and everything. So yeah, okay, that's good. Right, okay, so I am going to start with my first one. So I'm flying from my British hometown airport. Notice I said British this time, not English. Trying to stop doing that. I'm not even that type of imperialistic person. So I'm at Durham Tees Valley Airport. And we are going to be flying to Newcastle Airport, which is really not far. By car it's about 45-50 minutes, and by plane not even half of that, so it's quite a short flight. But what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to get myself up to scratch with working this plane. So I'm going to take off the auto brake, because the auto brake's one of the issues I think on the car. Let's see. Yeah, parking brake, so not auto brake, parking brake. So I'm going to take that out. And then pitot heat. Pitot heat. Hang on, why can I not see half of my bloody stuff here? So maybe I should turn this down. So actually, oh crap. Right. So overhead panel, no, and I don't know why it's got like a swing on it because it shouldn't. Cabin light, inoperable. Okay, that's good. Interior switch. Okay, so I'm supposing that all my lights are on. I'm going to take that off. Yeah, total visibility. I'll just check, see if it's down here. Okay, so essentially my landing light should actually be on. So I'll just make sure. Did I just turn them off? I might have actually turned them off. Yes. So my landing light should be on. Wait. My taxi light should be off. Okay, I'm pretty sure all these are set to normal. Because I did actually start it on the runway. That was the idea, starting on the runway. So, first thing I want to do is we are going to go to an altitude of 4,000 feet. Normally, takeoff is to 4,000 feet, so let's have a look. Climb, maintain 4,000 feet, yeah. So what we're going to do is we're going to set the altitude to 4,000 feet. Okay, so that's set to 4,000 feet. That's pretty much what I want. I wish that map wouldn't do that. This map is a real pain in the backside, because now I'm going to have to go click that. Okay, and I'm just going to zoom out slightly just to give us a little bit of space. Now, what I was saying earlier with the autopilot is that it doesn't seem to engage properly. When it does engage, it seems to want to do these kind of really crappy nose dives and crash me into the ground. And this one, the Beechcraft, is the worst for it, because what it wants you to do is set the autopilot at flat level flight. And there's also an issue with this one, I think, with the flaps as well, I think, which is I'm going to try landing with either 1 flaps or even 0. I don't think you're supposed to ever land with 0, but I'm considering giving it a go. So I need my altimeter. Okay, so we'll turn on the yaw damper. We're going to turn on the flight directors. Flight director on. Flight director on. Okay. So there's one thing more I'm going to have to change, and I don't actually know where we change it here. So I'm wondering if it's when we just press nav. At the moment it says level flight. I think that means level flight, that one. But it looks like the FMS is set, but this should normally say FMS. And I don't know how you change it. Oh, hang on, Krebs. I hope that's the right one. Crap. I did this fine this afternoon. Oh, you're right, Oscar. Yeah, it's a bit. I shouldn't have maybe done it, because now I've forgotten how I change it to FMS. And that's the other thing. I've been trying it with another plane, and the autopilot won't even engage on that one, which is pretty scary. So, and I don't understand why, because I've seen videos of other people using the same plane with autopilot engaging, and I'm following what they're saying to the exact amount. It's just when you press the button for autopilot, it doesn't engage. And I don't know what the deal with that is. So I think I've been cleared for takeoff. I mean, I shouldn't be sitting on the runway like this. You wouldn't normally sit on the runway like this. I'm just going to make sure that all my lights are on. Yeah, well, looks of it. Yeah, my wing lights are on, my beacon's on, my tail light's on, so that's all good. So, right, so we're set for 4,000 feet. We're going to do flight level changes, I think, just naturally. So I think, okay, so I'm going to give that a go. That's another thing, when you use the flight level change instead of vertical speed, you have to actually kind of purposely power up or down to get it to pitch, which is really strange as well. And I'm sure these things are not working as they would in an airplane. I think they're all just like little glitches. So for example, with this one, I cannot engage the autopilot with the nose pitched up. It won't work. If I have the nose pitched up, it will immediately, as soon as I activate the autopilot, it will pitch down at a really strong rate, and then it will gradually try to pitch itself up. But if you're only 100, 200, like 500 to 1,000 feet off the ground, it won't engage. And even if you're, what was I at 4,000 earlier, and it went like right down to about 500 meters before it pitched up again. So that's definitely not working as intended, but we'll see. Okay, so I think we're ready to go. Flaps should be set to 1. Yeah, so flaps are already set to 1, so everything's set to go. Everything's good to go. The parking brake's off. The only thing is the pitot heat light was showing, so I'm guessing left, right, and if I look at the cast now, you see it's gone blank, so that's okay. So everything's clear on the cast board, so we are clear and safe to take off, I think. So let's give this a go. Probably going to crash into the ground because that's how this normally works, but we can cross our fingers and hope for the best, eh? Alright, let me just wanted to set my phone doing that. Right, okay, off we go. So the engines are going up, which is good, so we can go full speed. The thing with the TAB is that the engine, as you're going down the runway, the engine kind of flattens out at one point. It sounds really, really strange. A bit of a shake there. Don't think the weather's that bad. Okay, we're coming up to takeoff speed. I'm going to just give it a little bit more and see if she wants to take off a little bit more naturally. She does seem like she does. So I am going to pull up the gear. Okay, so we're going to give our autopilot the comms. Oh, he's already got comms. Okay. So we're currently climbing, okay, and we're climbing at 10 degrees. It's not a bad climb rate. We're just passing 1,000, so we're going to 4,000. So we can do effective, but we have to just make sure we keep the nose up. So I have to add a little bit more oomph into the Beechcraft 105 climb and maintain 9,000 feet. And this is where I have to learn when to properly put the autopilot on, because if I was to put the autopilot on now, this thing would automatically want to pitch into the ground. Okay, so I really don't want to do that at the moment. We're currently we're at 2,200 feet. So I'm going to just let it go up a little bit more. And then what I'm going to try and do is, as it kind of flattens out, because it naturally wants to flatten out, and then it kind of want to stop climbing. So let it just go down a little bit. I'm going to just put the autopilot on. And you see, immediately it started pitching down. So I'm going to just pull the autopilot off a little bit. Just going to gain a little bit more here. Maybe I think I just misjudged the when to turn it on, but I just want to gain that 4,000 feet, because then I'll get clearance to 9,000, and I want to just feel like if she does want to nosedive again, she's going to have space to pick herself back up. So I'm going to just push the nose down slightly here, and I'm going to click on the autopilot there. So hopefully it's only going to dive me slightly into the ground. I want navigation, and I want flight level change, and hopefully she's going to start following the navigation now, and the nose is pitched up, and I'm gaining altitude. So I'm just going to pull back slightly on the engines. I don't want to lose too much. So although that marker is over there, we're actually following this on the map here. We're following this on the map. So she's going to swing left, she's going to swing right and everything. But for all intents and purposes, we're now flying correctly, and we're not going to crash drastically into the ground. So that's a good start. Now, we did lift up the gear, didn't we? I'm sure we did, because I don't think I'd have heard the end of it if I didn't.
Please expedite your climb to 9,000 feet.
So we've now got clearance to 9,000, so we're going to set that. We're going to increase. No, not synchronize to current. Not flip across. Not synchronize to current, please. Please stop doing this, because this is where you can have real problems. So that's 7, 8, 9, and then I'm going to go flight level change. Okay, and she should start going up again. So this is all good. This is what I expect the autopilot to do. As I said, in the TMB, it's not doing this. The autopilot doesn't even engage, and this is really annoying because it's supposed to. So it's supposed to engage, and it's supposed to do all the flight level changes and everything. So I could go up faster using the vertical speed, but from what I've been reading, a lot of people are saying don't do that. Use the flight level change. It's just a bit safer. You can pitch the nose up a little bit and increase the engine, and it will increase the climb rate. Like, if I can try it here actually. I can try it here. If I increase the engine, but it's actually quite hard to increase it. You'll notice the altitude I'm gaining goes up tremendously. So, you know, and with a flight level change, it tries not to change the speed too much. So that's probably the good thing about that, is because the computer tries to level your speed with gaining the altitude at the same time. So that's pretty cool that it does that, because you can make it rush to the right flight level. The one thing oh, hello Jack, how are you doing? Ah, it's good to see you. I was thinking about you in one of the other streams because I hadn't seen you for a while. So yeah, we can go outside and just see this pretty. Look at the stars. Look at this. Where shall we go today in the stream? So we're looking back here on T. That's Teesside. Those are the lights of Teesside over there. Or actually, it would be over there, I think. That's probably more Sunderland way, and we are going to be heading just to the next satellites, which you can't really see. Oh, that might actually be Newcastle. That's actually Newcastle. Well, Newcastle and Sunderland, won't it? They'll be both together. So we're going to fly out just over here, where you can see my mouse, is the sea. It's the North Sea. So we're going to fly out across the North Sea, and then we're going to turn back in. Okay, now this is a very short flight, because this is kind of me practicing for what is going to be a big adventure at some point. So I just wanted to make sure I get everything right. And landing has been one of the bigger problems that I've had in the last few days, actually. I think I was playing with Elliot's guy the other night, and I said to him, oh, I've bounced it again. Like, I don't understand what I'm coming into land at perfect speed, but I'm bouncing it. And from what I can read, every article that talks about bouncing the plane is talking about coming in too fast. But if I come in any slower, I'd stall. So I'm only 10 miles, yeah. Is it miles per hour or knots? 10 knots over the stall. So I think this one lands at, I want to say 75 knots is its landing speed. But I think what it is once I cross the threshold, I think I might be either not cutting the engine at all, so you're not getting that final glide. So I'm actually coming in with too much power. and that's what I think the problem's been before. Now I'm just overspeeding a little bit for my own liking here. I want it to be like, I think I want it to be somewhere around 190 or something. I don't think 200 knots is overspeeding.
105, you are 25 miles south. Keep speed below 220 knots. Expect burnout runway 25 approach via ITS's transition. Clear to ITS's.
Okay, so I'm pretty much, I'm thinking...
Speed below 220 knots. Expect RNAV runway 25 approach via ITS's transition. Clear to ITS's Beechcraft 105.
So I think with this one, this approach that I'm doing, I don't think that you actually need to request landing. I think it's automatically given with that instruction there. So, and I think it's because I'm coming in via something called RNAV and not the ILS approach. And the reason I do that is because, oh no, she's going to give it now. The reason I do that is because it just gives such a better entry into Newcastle Airport. Now the airport's somewhere off my wing. Should be able to see it almost. I think it's here. So the airport's just here. And I know this from personal flights home, of course. And I'm kind of spotting it. So, if we get this one down okay, I'm going to give you, I'll change the time of day and I'll give you a bit of a tour of my British hometown. Not my Spanish hometown. So yeah, you can see the lights here. So this is the airport here. I've still got my training wheels on at the moment, I'm going to be honest, because I feel with the approach thing, it makes me feel much more comfortable, and I enjoy doing it that way. I'll take it off eventually when I've got a few more hours under my feet. But this must be a wind farm down here because all of these red lights, they're supposed to blink, but if you were here for the Las Vegas trip I did, and I think I landed okay in that one, didn't I? I have to look back at that.
Beechcraft 105, please expedite your climb to 9,000 feet.
No, I'm not going to expedite because we're at like 7,000. Why are we only at 7,600? Is it because of my... Did I change something? I think I must have accidentally clicked it off or something. I don't understand why the flight level is, and this is what gets me about the game sometimes, is it doesn't really explain why you're not gaining. I don't quite know why when we're actually losing that now. No, it's going. All right, it's going up now. So things like that, I think sometimes you just have to nudge the nose and do this, that, the other. But you really, in reality, you would not have to do this at all. So why the game's doing it, I don't know. But there you can see we're just pointing down, but it's not the end of the day for me. But no autopilot should be doing this, you know, nose down, nose up, nose down, nose up. It should not be doing this at all. I think my barometric pressure might be a little bit off as well, actually, by the way. So I should have actually change that. I did an auto reset because I think you're supposed to listen to the radio.
Beechcraft 105, descend and maintain 4,000 feet. Keep speed below 200 knots.
So he said decrease to 4,000
Descend
feet.
and maintain 4,000 feet. Keep speed below 200 knots. Beechcraft 105.
Okay. So now I have to do the flight level change again, but what we kind of have to do here is you pull the nose down, if I remember. I'm going to try and bring the engines back just slightly, and then I'll do flight level change now, I think. Is it on? Is he moving? No, he's not. So let's pitch down just slightly. I'm going to go down 5 degrees and then I'm going to try it again. Yeah, he's going to do it now. So kind of getting it to nudge down and do this, it's a bit of a pain in the backside, I'm going to be honest. Like I said, I can use the vertical speed. I can use the vertical speed, but people say don't use the vertical speed. And well, at least you got it. At least you got it down, Alisgar. At least got it down. Let's try and pull back a bit. Let's see if that loses us a bit of. No reason why they shouldn't be doing this here. It worked perfectly on the. Now it's going. See what I mean? I don't know why it does that, but it does it. And now it's going to do the flight level change down to 4,000, and then from 4,000 I can probably bring it back in myself. I don't think it's going to be an issue bringing it back in myself. So when we make the final turn, you can see on the map here we're just going to go out over the sea a little bit, and then we'll come back in, we'll make a double turn, and then we'll come straight in on the runway heading. So this is why I like this approach, and this is the real approach in real life. So that's why I like doing it, because I recognize it. And to be honest with you, when you're flying IFR, I never really get to look around that much. But seeing if you can see St. James's Park, the football stadium is there, I do believe, because I've actually modded it into the game. So that'll be, but it's not as hilly as it should be, that area. But that looks like where it'll be. But Elska, you were saying night flying very brave. Actually, night flying's sometimes better because there's less to have to concentrate on. When you look out the window, everything's black. So concentrating on the lights, on the runway lights, is actually. Okay, so now it's
descend and maintain 2,600 feet. Beechcraft 105.
Okay, so hang on a minute, because I have to. I think that's 2,600. Go back. Oh no, it's not that one. It's that one. Cancel. So just make sure it's 2,600. Yep. And luckily, because of the flight level change, it should keep doing it. So it's a nice bank. This, I love this bank. You see this whole stretch of beach here. In reality, there's a couple of airports. Barcelona's another one. When you come in off the mountains and then you come down the coast, it's a great view. It really is a great view. See the sprawling city and everything. It's just a very, very nice view.
Beechcraft 105, you are 11 miles east of Newcastle. Contact Newcastle Tower on
Okay, so you can see the airport here.
when inbound on the approach.
And we're currently at 3,100, so it should start flattening out in a second. You can see it lifted up a little bit, so it's going to want to lift the nose up. And then we just wanted to make this final turn. We've got the split map here. You can have a full map, or a split map on here, which is pretty cool. I generally don't, because you can pretty much see it on the right hand side panel where you are and what you're doing. So here we're making the final turn. We're at 2,700 feet, so, and still falling. So as we hit the final the final part, when we're on final, we'll get everything ready. So at the moment the marker kind of blocks the lights of the runway a little bit. It's a bit harder to make them out, so I'm just going to raise my seat a little bit. See here it says that we're coming in too fast. So we're going to turn the flight level change off. We don't need the flight level change anymore because we're at 2,600. We're going to bring down our landing gear. Just going to start slowly trying to bring off some of the speed because we're about 70 kilometers above where we want our touchdown speed to be almost. So I'm going to go flaps 1 to bleed off a little bit of that speed. Try and keep the nose up a little bit, just get this speed pretty much leveled off now, so that we're not losing any speed, but we're certainly not at the perfect. There we go. So we don't want to be losing too much. So I've just put the speed up a little bit, or the throttle up a little bit. Sorry. You just keep on kind of padding the stick a little bit until you notice you're not losing. You're not losing.
Clear to land runway 25 Beechcraft.
So I'm going to take off the autopilot now. So I've taken off the autopilot because we are coming in slightly too high here. But I'm just going to point the nose down a little bit. I'll pull off the throttle, which should stop us gaining any speed as we're coming in. So I don't actually know whether I should we're coming in a little bit high here actually, but high is not terrible. To be honest with you, high is not terrible. I'm just going to do a bit of a correction there to the right because I feel like I'm just slightly off center. Oh god, the computer's having difficulty I feel like I'm slightly off center there. I'm not. I'm looking at the map on the thingamajig. Okay, I'm just going to put my second flaps down. And again, it's saying we're coming in too fast, so I just want to bleed off some of that. I'm going to try and pitch up a little bit too, and just try and lose that as well. Oh, it's a bit bumpy, but it is what it is. Still slightly too high, but it's not. As long as I'm not going crazy and losing too much speed. Should be alright. I'm saying all this and I know I'm going to probably plant it. But that's how we do it. That's how we learn. Kind of a good angle now. So I'm still too fast. So I'm just going to pull the nose up to try and bleed some of that off. I don't know exactly what the landing speed of this is supposed to be, but we're going to pull it up just slightly there. too busy reading my dash there. I wasn't looking at the runway. So the PAPI lights look really good. I'm 2 for 2, but I just want to look a bit over to the left there. So I don't want to be doing that. Well, maybe we're not 2 for 2 anymore. Oh, I was too busy paying attention to the PAPI lights there, and I've gone right over to the wrong side. There we go. Wow. No bump. Wow. Okay.
Beechcraft 105, turn next taxiway.
That surprised me. I'm going to be totally honest. That really surprised me. I cannot believe how well I did that, because I made a mistake. I was looking at the PAPI lights going, oh, I'm coming in brilliantly, and then I went all off in the wrong way. So that's a good sigh of relief. I wonder if pilots do that every time. Could have made a diamond out of a lump of coal, that last part. But yeah, so this is kind of, I think this is the plane that I'm going to fly with, because I'm starting to feel a little bit more comfortable with it. It seems to, you know, when there's a problem with that flight level change, you can correct it.
Beechcraft 105, exit runway when able.
As I said, I came in a little bit too high, but the plane didn't go crazy, and it allows you to make the corrections without anything strange happening, if you get what I mean. And I just feel really comfortable with that. So what we're going to do is I'm going to...
Beechcraft 105, contact ground on 121.73.
I'm going to take her to the taxiing point, so we'll take it to the taxiing point, and then I'm going to reload it, and we'll do it in daytime, and you'll see kind of the difference now. I think I've been given taxi clearance. With the co-pilot doing it, no, he hasn't.
Newcastle Ground Beechcraft Whiskey India November Golf Sierra 0105, request taxi to the gate.
Beechcraft Whiskey India November Golf Sierra 0105, taxi to General Aviation Parking via Taxiway Bravo.
Taxiing to General
Okay,
Aviation
so they'll
Parking
acknowledge it,
via
but they
Taxiway
won't
Bravo,
request it, but that's
Beechcraft
okay.
105.
So we'll take it to the taxiing, we'll taxi it to the gates, and then, as I said, I'll reload it, I'll do a clear day, and I'll take you on a tour of, on a little bit of a tour of my hometown. We'll use the same aircraft and whatnot, 'cause it isn't the easiest to fly straight. I wish everything flew like the Icon, to be honest. If everything flew like the Icon, I'd be over the moon. Even with speed adjustments, I just like the way the Icon handles itself. But I'm guessing if you flew a passenger jet like that or anything, probably most people would be having heart attacks. So, okay, now I didn't turn my landing lights on and put my taxi lights on, which isn't faux pas. It's not faux pas, it's actually illegal. But it doesn't matter for this training session, because the intention is just autopilot and landing. So some nice creaks coming on from the back. I like that. I'm supposing there's marshals here. Yep, I can see his sticks now. I'm coming in good and straight, so he's waving me forward. Just don't want to cut his face off. And one walks straight in front of me. They're idiots at this airport. They are Geordies. let's be honest with you. Right, okay. Then he's saying, okay, you can cut now. So I can go and cut my engines and everything, but I'm not because I'm going to reload it. So there's not much point in doing that. So we'll go restart and continue. So luckily, when you restart it, it doesn't take as long to load up as it did. No claps from anybody. Nobody give a clap when we landed. If you were on an EasyJet flight, you'd all be clapping. Come on. You know you would. Did you get any good photos, Ella's guy? You should start taking some photos and uploading them to the to the Discord. I've taken a few, I just haven't had time to upload them yet. But that icon is just, it's so easy to fly, man. So easy. And I prefer the glass cockpit planes as well. I just do. I think there's a little bit more information available to you, and I don't know. I think they feel a bit more. You feel a bit more in control. But I wonder what happens if you have an actual like power outage and you lose everything. It's taken a while to load in. It seems to take longer every time I load it, but I suppose it's trying to grab the cached stuff and whatnot, so it's not having to stream it every time. Oh God, it takes a long time. Really does. It's like a ridiculous amount of time some days. Was the cat sleeping good? I fed the cat before I streamed tonight, just so we didn't get any of that over-the-shoulder claw action going on or anything. And the other thing I've learned with Autopilot and what is never use active pause when you're using your Autopilot system. Now the Microsoft didn't tell us that, but you just don't. Okay, so we're going to go from live weather to clear skies, and we're going to make it daytime. Okay, so here we are at Teesside Airport in the daytime. It's AI generated, and they didn't do a bad job. Let me just show you a tiny bit. My game's just frozen, but it often does when you're doing this type of stuff. So yeah, so the tower's about right. I don't remember the tower being there, but it's been a long time since I've been there. But the glass front to the main airport building's about right. This part's a little bit wrong, I think. But here, the two big hangars. Yeah, this is all correct here and here. It's about correct. So it looks pretty good as it is. Now I've modified Middlesbrough, so you're going to see it in a way that you wouldn't see it if you were flying over it in the simulator, and I'll show you exactly where it's been modified. And I should really, just give me 1 second, I should really give props to the guy who created it. I've got it in the wrong bloody screen, but I'll look at my messages because I was messaging him the other day to get some information off him. So no, I want messages. Wow, Reddit's slow. Okay, where is it? No, that's not him. Oh, hang on. That's very strange. He hasn't gone off red yet, has he? Well, his name is Kevlar SJL, and he's been recreating T-side, which is, yeah, I know. Yeah, it's well, I'm going to show you some actually, Alizgar, once I get up in the air and everything. So as long as you're not using autopilot, you can use active pause, which is your on the top of your keyboard is the far right button. After F12, there's 3 more, and it's the far right one. I've got a French keyboard, so I don't actually remember what it says in English. Okay, so let's get this thing up in the air. I've got my I think I've got my parking brake on, so I should take that off. We'll get this thing out of the way. We'll get this thing up in the air. So. Now, one thing I have learned to trust is actually the speedometer and wait for the here. It seems like the end of the runway is really close, but it's not. It's a long way off. A long way off. And actually, the lights you can see kind of tell you when you get to the end of the runway. And then there's kind of a dip. But look at how much of the runway was left. I could have utilised. You know what I mean? There's just tons of it. Okay, so we'll get the nose up a little bit. I'm not going to go higher than 15 because I think that's a bit crazy. We'll make a turn while we're doing this. I want it about 10 degrees. The nose up.
Beechcraft 105,
I'm going to
contact
do the
Manchester
B button just to make sure I've got the right altitude. You have to be quite careful with this one because of the engine. It loves to throw itself around. So. Let me just get my bearings and find Eston Hills. Okay, there's Eston Hills. So, kind of bring her a bit more. And what this guy has done for Middlesbrough, let me go external. There we go. Cripes on a stick, that's way too close. Okay. So, unfortunately, you can't see your. Where's the T's? Okay, so we're going to follow the river T's. There it is, okay. So I don't know what that offshoot of the river is there, but we're going to follow the river T's here as it goes towards Stockton. And then we'll be able to follow it right out. This guy's done a great job. He's just done an absolutely great job with this game. And he really deserves a pat on the back for what he's done. I should actually fly over Hurworth one day, but I just haven't had a chance. I haven't actually done a lot looking at the northeast, to be honest with you. So this is the River Tees just below me. The mighty River Tees. I never call it that, but there you go. Some people do. And this is, I call Middlesbrough my hometown. It's not my birth town, but I lived there for a long time, and so I see it as my hometown. And just as we're coming across into Middlesbrough here, this Stockton just to my right, to my left. And so you can really VFR this. It's crazy VFR in this. I still find it unbelievable when I'm playing this game how easy it is to VFR. So like if you look down here, I'm going to go into the active pause now. So the active pause, you press that button and your plane becomes super stationary and you don't have to do anything. So here, this is called Teesside Park, just here. And this is actually, this would be like I think a TGI Friday, just here, or a Mexican place, can't remember now because they change it so often. All of these are big shops, so big name brand shops, like a shopping mall type of thing. And then here is the bowling alley and cinema, and this actually used to be a nightclub here. I had some great times in my university days. Just look at all the traffic down there, it's great, I love it. It really adds the authenticity of it. You can see the train yard here. So this is, it's not very much used, but this is all the trains that would carry the steel. Now a lot of people don't realise Middlesbrough is a big steel city, and they say that every building in the world has Teesside steel in it. The Sydney Harbour Bridge is made purely, was made actually here, and then packed up on boats, taken over, and then assembled there. So the first place we're going to go is this one here, and just keep it in mind that these are modded. This isn't in the game. So he's moaning because I'm supposed to be doing my flight plan and I'm not doing my flight plan. So after the active pause, when the plane's fully paused, if you actually press the insert button, you'll see that it goes to, looks like a different view. It actually isn't a different view, it's the drone camera. And the drone camera allows you to take the camera where you can't go. The only downside to the drone camera that I really see is that it's so slow. And I don't know if you can play around with any values, but it really, you can start bringing it down to ground level, and that is when this game starts getting pretty amazing. I mean, you can see the train yard. All the trains are 3D objects, although I'm sure they're not actually trains. It's probably, the AI probably thinks they're sheds or something. But I just, shut your face, but I just love it. You can then start looking around, and you just start realizing how well it's mapped stuff in. So I'm just gonna continue over here. It's gonna be a bit slow, but it doesn't matter. Once we get to this bridge, it'll all start kind of. Middlesbrough's a very small town, so actually, you know what? No, I can take it in closer. So I think we'll press insert again, and then we'll do that, and then I'll try and come in for a bit of a crazy attack. We'll attack here, okay? Okay, I'll do a pull-up. Okay, so this guy has done a great job, in my opinion. Whoop. So it took us down to look at that. How cool is that? You can't tell me that isn't amazing that the game can do this. Okay, so here it is. Okay, so he's mapped this in from Google, but the game doesn't have this bridge at all. The game only has, I don't even think it has a burned. Sometimes I'll show you the other bridge we have in Middlesbrough, which is a very famous bridge actually, one of only a few in the world. I don't think this one's actually even burnt into the water. And the bridge that it has here in the game is just, it's a standard bridge. And so it doesn't do it justice. This bridge can actually lift. In the centre part will lift all the way to the top for large shipping, but it doesn't do it these days. There is no large shipping. So we're going to follow the railway line in. So this is the main East Coast part of the East Coast main line, which kind of splinters off at Darlington. Can continue on to Saltburn. The only thing is American trucks on the road. That's obviously not normal. And cars just seem to appear and disappear. So I was considering having a look at how to mod this game myself and actually add some things, because I think like what this kid's done, or this guy, I don't know how old he is, he's done an amazing job, because like I said, you can VFR everything here. So looking at this, I mean, you can see what things are. Now here it's office blocks, so I'm going to start using my pointer a bit. Here it's office blocks, but in reality these are actually all either shops or warehouses for something or another. These are two gas, I've forgotten the name of them now, what you call them, these huge gas things where they go up and down as they fill them full of gas. I've forgotten the name of them. Answers on a postcard, if you want. Again here I think it's got a few of them incorrect, which is a little sad. I'm just trying to think about it. For example here, these cars here, these rows aren't this busy. So it obviously doesn't really take a lot of that into consideration. I don't think this is a big building. I think this is actually a little. So I think that one's a little bit wrong. I think it's that one that's a little. Okay, and then we're going to fly a bit over into the town centre here. So a lot of this actually has been changed, so a lot of this I'm a bit unsure of, because since I lived there, you can kind of see the burnt image here, which is terraced housing, and for some reason the AI just doesn't understand British terraced housing very well. So it'll do the odd one, like here, which they're pretty well rendered. They're not far off especially these ones here. They look very, very much like the original design. And then it'll look at ones like this, and it'll build big things, which it shouldn't be. All of them should kind of be like this, and it's just rows and rows and rows of them. Now these have actually been destroyed. Now there used to be rows of houses here as well, but they've kind of destroyed them and made them into this parkland. I don't exactly know what the area was. So you can see all of these streets, and I've lived on numerous ones of these. Last one I lived on this area was here, so this would have been this house here. And these were like kind of run-down houses for a long time. They were basically run by slumlords because there's a university campus, and it was all rented out to the university. So yeah, so you can see the terraced housing etched into the ground, but for some reason the AI just can't pick up on it. So I don't know. I was thinking of trying to do a bit of work. He needs to shut up, doesn't he? Okay, so let's just reassert ourselves now. Okay, so here is where this beautiful park here, beautiful park, huge as well. Here's where I used to play American football. I was an outside linebacker on this pitch, which was not made of grass. It was made of concrete and this green stuff. It wasn't even AstroTurf. It was like something you would find on one of those kiddies' car mats, you know. And well, I always wore extra clothes, because if you got your knee got burnt by this stuff, it was never going to recover. This is a sports building. This is the university library. This is the university student union, and again, it's actually done it really, really well. When you look at the shape of this here and the shape of this here, this is perfect. The only difference is, in reality, this is actually all made of glass, this front part. That's the only difference. The shape and everything else is exactly the same. Same with the library here. This is all glass here, and it's all glass around that side, and it hasn't been able to tell what that is. The only thing I have a question mark about with this is here. Now I know there's a road. There used to be a road here, and I know it's all been pedestrianised now. So a lot of these buildings are kind of new. It's where I did my degree. Actually, would have been in this building here. I did a degree in documentary filmmaking, and then I did my psychology in this building here. Actually, would it have been that building? Hold on. No, it would have been this building here. So you can see here, this building's a bit out of colour, and this is because this guy's modded in the whole university building here, which is absolutely fantastic. And of course, when you get up close, it's a bit crappy, but to be honest with you, once you are a couple of 100 meters below, you can't even see it. He's even modelled in this building here, next to it. This one that I'm just circling here, this is actually just like student union accommodation now. It used to be privately run, but it's not anymore. I'm boring the hell out of everybody here. This is the law court. It's actually quite a big law court in the area. Quite a lot of big cases get tried there. He's missed the bottle. We have this like structure called the bottle. This is an art gallery, but I don't know why the game hasn't... looking at some of the other buildings that the game's done so well, I don't understand why it hasn't done this one well. This is the tax office. Boo! It's where the Inland Revenue take all your money. This is a registry office, so getting your birth certificate and stuff, you have to go there. And he's actually managed to model the steps on it pretty well. He was telling me that it's really hard to actually... in Middlesbrough, it's actually quite hard to grab the buildings because they're in such close proximity that Google Earth doesn't necessarily have all the information to make it totally 3D. This is a housing benefit office, and this actually is the Empire Theatre, it's called, but it's not actually a theatre, it's a nightclub. But it's hosted some really famous DJs in its time. And so what I was trying to get at, well, the reason I came out in the drone camera, actually, I'm going to go up and I'm going to go to the next place. The next place is this blue bridge over here, which is imported in. This is a transporter bridge. It's one of only a few pontoon bridges that exist. I think there's 5 in total that work like this. I know there's one in Middlesbrough, there's one in Bilbao, there's one in Crepes, where was it? One in Venezuela, and the other 2 places I don't remember where they were, but I know there's only a few of them in the world. And just as we're approaching it, I'll show you how it kind of works, because it's obviously the cars don't go up there. There's like a little like area that you park your car in here, and then it's on like big lines, and it'll just the lines will move across. And it was just because there was a lot of boating traffic in the past, and he didn't want bridges that went up or down or anything, because it would take too long. So, and this can get along there in no time. People quite often bungee jump off here. My housemate did once. So as you can see in the original simulation, it's burnt into, there's no bridge here, and it's just burnt into the image is burnt into the ground like that. This guy's come and he's done and he's placed it in the simulator, which is just really cool, really cool that he's done that. Next on the list, you see like a boat's burnt in there. I wonder if it's got the Casino Royale or what it was called. And then here is the home of the mighty Middlesbrough Football Club, the Riverside Stadium. Now in the 2nd division. Not the old 1st division. I don't know how you do it these days. You can never get it right. It's probably the something championship, Premier Championship of something. Saw their best years in the 90s, definitely in the 90s, but did win a cup and had a European run in the 2000s, in the early 2000s, but balls that up like everything else. So went into financial problems and ended up having to sell half the players off and never reached the heights again. But it's the sad story of it, but not much else they can do. The guy actually mapped in this crane here as well, which is quite, I can't remember the story behind it, but it's very famous. And yeah, so he's mapped the stadium into it. The colours are slightly off, which is a bit sad, but I mean, again, these don't exist in the game. In the game, this was like a big warehouse. So to have somebody come along and put it in, it's great. I think it just feels good. It's a bit of a couple of there's trees and stuff here which haven't blended. He hasn't done properly. But again, I mean, it's free. It's a free mod. All these sort of things are free. You just download them and drop them in, and he just does a great job. So I'm going to go back to the plane. The reason I want to go back to the plane here is if we go off active pause. Can we go off active pause, please? There we are. Is because the other part that I want to show is a lot further away. It's actually 2 other parts, and it's a lot further away. And this, again, this is what this guy's added. So we're just flying back over the Transporter Bridge and the Riverside Stadium there on the right wing, and we're gonna follow the river out. So in actuality, off in the distance there, you can see some cliffs up here. This is actually my real birth home is over here. A town called Loftus. We shall not talk about it. There's another ship burnt in. So all the ships that are normally parked along here are all just burnt in. So the AI obviously doesn't spot that and put planes in their place, unfortunately. Which I'm sure at some point in the future the AI will. But you've got to remember that it's a teaching process. This is all ICI here, so this used to be huge. And I've actually told this story before. If you have an interest in movies, is this part here? All of this used to be ICI. Still is, just getting demolished now. And the beginning of Blade Runner, when he's flying through the city, and you see all the fire going off. That was all based on the skyline of ICI here. Ridley Scott based it all off there because he used to work over in Hartlepool, which is like over here, and he used to see the lights from the distance. And he said it also had an influence on how the Alien films looked. And actually, Alien 3 was parts of it were filmed here. Right, actually in this place here. So this place is the steelworks, and it's unfortunate it's been closed down now. A lot of people lost their jobs and stuff. As it does, everybody's buying Chinese steel, I'm guessing. It's cheaper because it's forged out the ground with their hands. So he's done a really good job of that, because that's quite a complex thing, but he's managed to get all the different buildings and everything in there. I'm going to go back on active pause here a second, and I'll go back to the drone, because the drone's a bit better for actually... This is why I was trying to get Alizgar to use the drone, because I think the drone is really good for the photographs. The only thing is it records the distance from object, so the object being a plane, and then so when you go back into it, it doesn't do it unless there's a reset. I don't know if there's a reset. No, there isn't a reset. So, unfortunately, it doesn't quite. You have to go all the way back and do it again. This place is called Seal Sands, and it's called Seal Sands because, lo and behold, it attracts seals. Okay, you can see some buildings here, but I don't know which town this is. I don't know which town this is. Oh, it's Redcar. It can't be. That can't be Redcar from that distance. Oh, in my old age. Yeah, it is. Okay. Didn't realise. I only noticed when I saw this little building here and this big car park here, because and then the caravans here, because this is when I was growing up. This was like an amusement place with really strange things like ghost trains and everything inside. It was like really, I remember it being really big, but it's actually quite small. Here is this building here right on the edge of the sea is actually a cinema, really old cinema, and sometimes when you would be in there, you would hear the waves hitting the walls outside. It was a really strange feeling. They actually filmed a movie here called Atonement. They were filming a part that was supposed to be on the beaches of Normandy, and they decided that this promenade here really closely resembled Normandy, so they did it up. And some of the buildings that were painted to look like, so what they do is they paint the side of a building to look like the front of a building, and a lot of that is still on those buildings there. It's really strange to see. It's really strange to see when you go there. So let's just try to tab out there. Right, okay, so let's see if we can't get our flight going again now. And this is going to be where we struggle.
Beechcraft 105, please expedite your climb to 9,000.
So I've got to go to 9,000. Okay, so we're going to try and get this done. So we're going to go back to insert. We're going to come off the active pause. Off the active pause. We're going to go back into the thing. It's going to go mental for a second. Yep, the plane will always do this when you come out of active pause, and it's really annoying because it shouldn't be doing this. So I'm going to make a turn here, because what we're going to do is we're going to set 9,000 on the altimeter. No, I don't want to synchronize it. Right, okay, so this is the great thing about this thing is as well, is that I just feel that sometimes like they've made it a little bit harder to do certain things, and it drives me crazy. So see, I don't want to synchronize with my current altitude because that would be really stupid. So you say 9,000? 9,000. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to turn both the flight directors on. If I remember, we're going to hit nav, and then we're going to hit flight level change, and it should start. No, I need to hit autopilot. That would help. Right. So the autopilot is now going to kick in and try and take over. turn the engines up a bit so it starts that climb, because we really want it to make the climb. I should actually try with the vertical speed a little bit. So you can see it's going a little bit mental, but not too crazy. Again, autopilot shouldn't do that, because autopilot should only be concentrating on certain things. So it wouldn't normally start throwing the aircraft left and right. It would make very, very slight adjustments. So, there's something I forgot to do on the left and right pitot. No, I haven't turned the yaw damper on. That's what it is, and I haven't done the pitot heat. So we'll take away that. Take away that. Okay, turn that on. And now our cache should be clean. Okay, yeah. So we're climbing through to 9,000 here, and it's trying to hold 130 odd knots, so I can probably up that a little bit. To be honest, I don't think it's going to do us any damage. It's not a bad cockpit for views. So when I'm doing my trip, it's not bad cockpit for views. The whole trip will be done at low level flight, so that's why I've got to kind of get used to speeds. I'm going to look a bit more up about the Beechcraft. I think I do have a chart for it, and see exactly what its cruising speed is, what its climb out speed should be. Now the funny thing is, you know, again, the game is new. There's certain parts of it that they wanted to get done, and then they've obviously said, look, we'll work on those other parts once the game's live and whatnot. And one of the things is what was I going to talk about there? I've totally forgotten now. Was the thing no, it was. Oh crap, I've totally forgotten about... Why isn't my... Oh yeah, it is. We're flying back over the airport. That's why. So we're a little bit slow for my liking, so what we're going to do is I'm just going to turn the flight level changer off. Turn it back up again. Put the flight level change on. Okay. Why is it bringing the nose down? Oh yeah, because we're probably getting up to 9,000, that's why. Okay, so it's supposed to be trying to hold 137 knots, because it's all to do with how you do that, but that's another thing. You can't control the speed in this game. That's what I was going to talk about with the autopilot. On this plane, you can't control the speed. Even though it does have a speed button and everything, you can't control it. Also, for example, I can start pulling back on the engine a little bit now, just to try and bring that speed down just slightly. Again, I don't think 190, 200 is terrible. My engines aren't flashing, are they? You can't actually see the engine properly, which is ridiculous. No, my torque's not on full, so we can keep the torque around here, I think, and it should be okay. Oh, I didn't want to do it with that one. I wanted to do it with the mouse. So, and you know, the views are good. Well, this is 9,000. I don't know exactly what the best flight level is for this. I think you can program what your highest flight level is, if I remember rightly. Do you want to tick that, don't we? We also want to tick that one. I think it's that one. Yeah. Because we want that to be pretty central, so we can see the route. Now all of these hills here, I actually don't know where they are. So if you're looking that way, yeah, they're going to kind of be Yorkshire moors, but I don't think they'll be the Yorkshire Hills because they're too far along. No, they won't be. They'll be Cumbria, won't they? That'll be Cumbria. Sorry, I'm not thinking properly. Tell you what we should do, Elazgar, if you're still around. Don't know if you're watching. We should do a tour of of Whiskeyland while drinking whiskey. In an Icon. In an Icon. I get locked up. Yeah, in an Icon. That'd be fun. We could do that. No, 213. 9,000 feet. That feels good for me. I think we have to approach at less than 220, so 213 will do me fine. I don't know what the exact cruising speed is, as I said, because I haven't looked it up. I think it actually might tell you on the main menu what the cruising speed is. Just look at the detail when you're flying over a time like that. I haven't got a Shetop PC, by the way, so what you're seeing here is on medium, I think. Yeah, you lose a couple of frame rates when you're shifting around and stuff, but to be honest with you, in a flight simulator, you're always going to lose frame rates. You're always going to lose frames when you're shifting around and looking at different stuff. The other thing I like, I think that must be a runway there, or it's an artifact. I don't know. I might see it when we go past. I'll try and keep an eye on it. One of the things I do like about this plane is the captain's seat is above the nose, so you actually have quite a high view, and that doesn't happen quite often in planes. And in some planes you actually have no view. I don't know how people fly that way, but what was I going to say about that is that No, Scotland, Ellisgar. Did I say whiskey? No, did I say bourbon? I said whiskey. I'm just going to try and zoom in. Oh, that actually is a windmill, I think. Or it could be a television pole. So you see that, I'm guessing somewhere here is the beginning of the Scottish Highlands, because Newcastle isn't that far off from Scotland, so you're probably going to be able to start, because I've never actually looked. I've always flown in at night. I didn't realise you could actually see it. So that's pretty cool. In fact, that's not pretty cool, that's very cool. Yeah, those are windmills, there's 3 of them. So you can guess it's a windy place to live, this part of the world. I do have to actually go over summer Scotland, because I've downloaded Edinburgh for Brian, but he hasn't been in for a while. Did he come in at the end of the LA Noire one? Okay, so we're going to make the turn. Like I said, this very short flight, so you know, we're not the whole point of this short flight is because I can get kind of enough altitude to get that approach going. Could probably try Middlesbrough to Leeds as well. Leeds is actually not the easiest airport to land in. You generally have very high, very strong, crosswinds at Leeds Airport, so it's not always the easiest airport to fly into and stuff. That's seems like an awfully roundabout turn, that one, for this. Yeah, not worried. Obviously the flight's a little bit longer because of that detour I took over Teesside and everything, but you can actually move around the cockpit. I just want to edit off, so you can actually sit in the co-pilot seat if you want, or you can, or not. I try not to mess around too much with this one, because if you've actually changed the angle with the mouse, it can put your pilot in a really strange position, sometimes like behind the seat and stuff. So I try not to mess about with it. Nice interior, look at that interior, it's not a bad plane. I quite like flying this plane actually, if I'm totally honest.
Beechcraft 105, you are 25
Yeah,
miles down.
I think so.
Keep speed below 220 knots. Expect RNAV runway 25 approach via ITSS transition. Clear to ITSS.
Okay, so we've got clearance to
Keep
come
speed
in.
below 220 knots. Expect RNAV runway 25 approach via ITSS transition clear to ITSS
Now
Beechcraft
what I would like to
105.
see is if I can actually see if it was the stadium. I might have to do it when I'm closer. I was going to see if it was the stadium that I've mapped in. It's over there. I can see it. It must be. I must have loaded it in because there's no way that.
Beechcraft 105, contact Newcastle approach on 124
This is
decimal
really
3.
hard. Oh yeah, that's the stadium.
124
That's
decimal
St
3
James's
Beechcraft
Park. You can even just
105.
see it by by its shape.
Approach Beechcraft Whiskey
So,
India November
yeah, I've
Golf Sierra
definitely put that into the
010
game. So I should actually
9,000 feet.
won't get close enough to really have a look at it, but I will do one day.
Continue to NTS 02 as planned. Altimeter 29er decimal 9er 2.
Have you tried that, teachers, yet? Or you just saw that it was in the shop? Oh, let's go. So it's going to make a slight left turn here. And I love it once you learn how to use the autopilot in a certain plane. Like I said, in the TAM, I really wanted it to work, but if I press the autopilot button, it doesn't even register. I don't know what the deal is, and I love that plane. I like flying it. It feels right. I like the screen setup. There's not as many buttons as this one, as you can see, so it doesn't feel. I don't feel too confused in this. I think if I sat down for 20 minutes and had a look at everything, I'd become accustomed to where everything was. This has still got a lot of things on the overhead, but it's kind of an old style plane with new style stuff in it. So, yeah, I'll get used to this over time. But I really would have liked to fly the TAM. I might give it one more chance and see if I can get it fixed. But there was a message I put on Reddit earlier, and I saw that somebody had actually replied to it, so I need to. Okay, so somebody said the TBM has a master autopilot arm switch on the overhead panel at the far right. This switch needs to be in the up position for the autopilot to work. Okay, and I hope this helps, as it does trip up a lot of people, so fingers crossed, because I would much prefer to fly the TAM. The reason I want to fly the TAM is it isn't as noisy, so I don't mind that sound. It's atmospheric, but
Beechcraft 105 descent and maintain 4,000 feet. Keep speed below 200.
but it's simple. The whole setout's simple, and I've even got a startup sheet here, which is basically cold start to take off, and you don't need to do anything else. And it tells you how to do everything, which is pretty cool. I mean, you can do the startup lists here in your top. I think it's this one. No, objectives. No, it's this one, isn't it? With a tick. This is a checklist, and you can go through the whole checklist of flights. But I don't like using that because sometimes it changes your camera, and if you come out of it, you can't get your camera thing back. But I'm sure once you finish the checklist, everything goes back to normal. Okay, he didn't just give me a descend and maintain 4,000, so I wasn't paying attention, so. Okay, now we'll go point it down a little bit, and we're just gonna go line level change. Come on, there we go. Oh, I've messed that up, haven't I? It is going to go down. I should never fight it. It's going down now. Okay. Manchester Centre? Really?
118.775 for Beechcraft 105. Manchester Centre Beechcraft Whiskey India November Golf Sierra 0105 is at 9,200 feet descending 4,000 feet.
Beechcraft Whiskey India November Golf Sierra 0105 Manchester Centre continue to upmop as planned. Altimeter 29.902. Beechcraft 105 contact Newcastle approach on 124.38.
You see how I pull back on my throttle there, and it's trying to keep the same speed whilst losing altitude. So you actually use the throttle to control whether you're going to gain the altitude or lower the altitude, and then as you come down to your altitude level, you throttle up a little bit just to flatten it out. But it's a strange thing to get used to, and again that's probably why the TMB, the throttle seems to be a bit easier to control as well. So oh, you tried it? Oh, that's a shame. It is. You might want to try it with a little bit of ice, because it is a low level whiskey. It is an entry level one. There's not a lot of good entry-level whiskies, but I don't know. Have a few glasses, see if it grows on you, because you know, entry levels, they don't. Sometimes you just have to get the palate for it. You're not going to love an entry level straight off the bat. Ever. Right, so
descend and maintain 2,600 feet. Beechcraft 105.
so we've still got a fair ways to go for it to get down to 2,600, and I mean, it's going down pretty fast. I think maybe a bit too fast for my liking. And people on board will be shitting themselves. Oh, I like that marking on the glass. I don't know what it's supposed to be. It's like a dirty piece of chalk, but it only shows when the light shines across the cockpit. That's great. Just the level of detail in that. Yeah, it's a bit too tight, this. I know, because if I was coming in like that, I'd be crapping myself. But we need to make that 2,600, that's the thing, so... And this is it's a prop plane, it's not a 737 or anything, so... I think it's alright. Okay, looks like we're at good height now. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to start trying to bleed off a bit of that speed. Once we get down to 2,600, it'll take off the flight level change.
Beechcraft 105, you are 11 miles east of Newcastle. Contact Newcastle Tower on 119.705 when inbound.
Tower on 119.705 Beechcraft 105. Newcastle Tower Beechcraft Whiskey India November Golf Sierra 0105 11 miles east inbound RNAV runway 25 approach.
Beechcraft Whiskey India November Golf Sierra 0105 Newcastle Tower.
Well, yeah, I mean, you definitely not going to get a malt flavour.
Altimeter 29.902 wind 27 tree.
Okay, so...
Cleared RNAV runway 25 approach Beechcraft 105.
So, let's see if we can nail this one as well. See if we can. Panicking now. Okay, put the landing gear down. So you're going to come down to 2,000. See if I can get Flight level change on that as well. Yeah, I can do. Just going to bring it down to 2,000. Use the flaps. Let's see if it won't. We don't want it to be doing that. I might actually just take over now. Because I didn't want it to be kind of nose diving like that. So we're going to try and keep her level just for the time being until she gets into that cone of goodness. We are losing a little bit of airspeed. Okay, we have gone blue though, so I want to try and just settle her. The airspeed, so we want to be between 14 and 15, so that looks pretty good where I am now. We are slightly... No, we're not above it actually, we're slightly ajar to the left. So I'm just going to just twitch her over just a little bit.
Beechcraft 105 clear to land runway 25. Wind 27
Yeah,
tree
we're
to
definitely a
tree.
little bit to the left here. So I'm just going to
Clear to land runway 25 Beechcraft
luckily we can
105.
see this in the... So we're going to go to flaps 2. I'm actually looking at my instruments too much here. I did put the second flaps down, didn't I? Okay, that means we're below our minimum, which was, I think it was 2,000. Try and flatten out a little bit here. Yeah, I feel. It's going to let her go a bit over. I'm going to let her drift over a little bit to the right. Because I feel like I'm slightly off course to the left here, so we'll see when the pappy lights appear. When we get to the pappy lights, that should tell us pretty much how well we're doing. Okay. Okay, this feels better than it did. I just don't want to get too cocky here and then come in like that and then just drift over to the left too much, because you can see that you kind of... I'm trying to kind of point out where I'm trying to concentrate on, but I'm trying to concentrate pretty much where the pappy lights are, which are the 4 lights to the left, and then there's 2 white markers on the runway. That's kind of where you want to be going over and being perfect going over, and then you can then control your speed and just nicely touch it down. It's a long runway in Newcastle, so I don't need to worry too much about running out of room or anything on the runway, because that's not going to happen in my lifetime. So now 3 red lights means we're a little bit low, but we're still going to clear the first part, so that's okay. Okay, so I just want to get over these. That's the little bit bumpy there. Okay, that was good. Getting much more confident, I'm telling you. Wow. I said, because of the position of the cockpit, sometimes you feel like your nose isn't high enough, but your nose isn't actually as high as it could be, and then you're having to check back on your instruments, and you're like, oh god, I'm going to be taking off again, and you're not. You're not at all, and it's Well, that's cool. That's 2 successful landings, considering the last 2 times I've landed here, I've bounced it down the runway, and now I'm doing much better. So, you know, as they say, practice makes perfect. I'm really pleased with that. I don't know why
Beechcraft 105
my
exit
engines
runway when able.
don't seem to want to cut off. Well, not cut off, but they don't seem to want to slow the plane down. But actually, maybe that's what maybe they're actually designed like that, so you're not having to feather up and down all the time.
Beechcraft 105 contact ground on 121.7 tree.
It doesn't have to pick up speed when you're
121.7 tree for Beechcraft 105.
it picks up speed when you're taxiing. So we have to do that part ourselves. I don't know why it does that. I mean, it's not terrible that it does it. I'd actually
Newcastle ground
prefer not
Beechcraft
to have to do
Whiskey
it, but
India November Golf Sierra 0105
you'll probably see this change
taxi
a
to
little
the
bit.
gate.
Beechcraft Whiskey India November Golf Sierra 0105 taxi to gate 10 using taxiway Bravo.
Okay, so
Taxi
yeah,
to
you see
gate
it change.
10 using taxiway Bravo Beechcraft 105.
And it's a different parking spot today. It might actually be putting me at a gate, which is a little bit ridiculous. Newcastle doesn't have any general aviation at the gate. Absolutely not. It's normally Airbus 320s. I think I've actually seen one of those huge ones here before. Because they used to do flights to the Emirates. I don't know if they still do it now. But oof. Slightly. Well, it's not losing speed very easily. The parking brakes take a long time to kick in. A long time. So these guys must be papping themselves because I'm coming in at a bit of a rate here. Right. He's waving me in. I mean, again, this is where the game's broken a little bit because there's no way it should be parking me here. It knows it. They know it. My winger did just crash through the gate thing there, so I'll park it in there. And but I don't even know how to turn these engines off, to be honest. It says it's 1%. It shouldn't be. Well, I don't want to put it in reverse. Or do I? Oh, that's strange. Have I stopped it? Put the parking brake. No, maybe that's just absolute zero throttle. Right, so honestly don't know where the engine controls are here, if I'm totally honest. It's not there. Ah, it's here. Hang on a second. So we want well, that's an auto ignition, so we don't need that. So would we just put it into off? Oh, it's not that one then. Maybe that isn't. Hit the off switch. Have you tried turning it off and back on again? No, there's. Oh, hang on, what's this? Okay, I can't read some of these. Oh, that's for the fuel. There's a fuel cut-off, but I can't see where the engine stuff is. It's a problem. Some things it's on the overhead, and some things it's not. Turn the master panel lights off, but I don't want to do that. And I know what the shortcut key is, but this kind of winds me up when I can't work out. That's all comms. That's avionics switches, and there are some like your ignition switches are here, which is why I can't. These are inoperable, so it can't be that. That's engine ice. Yeah, this is really strange. Yeah, I'll have to have a look. I'll have to have a look at a thing for it, because I honestly don't know how you turn the engines off. Is it that? Keep looking at stuff, but I know it's probably not going to be the right one because I'd have seen it the first time around. But where is it? No, that's all environmental, like the stuff for the cockpit and whatnot. Ah, is it that one? That says inoperable, so it can't be. Oh, we got a window defog. Oh, that's for an engine fire test. Well, it's good I can see everything but the engine cut-off, which should be really easy to find in theory. But there's protection. That's lights. I'm wondering if it's like something like this one here. I don't know if that's no, that's inoperable. Yeah, I mean maybe actually on this one, I don't know. I'd have to. I was gonna say maybe they haven't modelled it, but I'm sure they have. I'm sure they have. I just can't find it. So I'm gonna put my parking brake on, even though you should never do that with the engine going. And I can turn off my master panel lights off and AV. What do you call it? The avionics master switch, so it doesn't make that noise anymore. Oh, it shouldn't. Oh, I don't know. I don't know. Ah, okay. Yeah, that worked. Just need to work out how to cut the engines off. It's not that one, is it? It can't be. Who knows? Who knows? I got somewhere close to it. We've got it half packed and done. Okay, I think I'm going to call an end to the stream there. I've been streaming longer than 1 hour 42 minutes, surely. Because I'm back at work now, so I've got to get up and do some work in the morning. But I'm going to try and stream again this week. I'm thinking maybe. It's hard now, I think. Maybe either tomorrow or Wednesday. Can't do it Thursday because I work late Thursday and coming home and streaming, it's just not possible. Might do it Friday. So it's either going to be later on this week or it's going to be in the next couple of days. I'll see how it goes because I'm trying to, get back into work. It's a bit, and with the whole COVID thing, it's mental. It's really strange. But it's something we're going to have to get used to and live with, I think, for the next 6-7 months. And then maybe things will start going back to normal. We shall see. So, people, thank you for joining in, and I hope you enjoyed the stream. And I'll speak to you very soon. I'll say good night, 9/7. Good night. It's good morning, wherever. It might be good evening in America. Australia, it must be morning. Must be morning in Australia. What it is in Brazil? Probably brunch. Yeah, Jack. I'll try and stream some more in the evenings, okay? Good night, people.